The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Cosmopolitans with Lauren. I'm happy to announce my new show on Armed Radio Global, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central. I hope you join us. Grab a cocktail, sit down, and give a listen. I love Randall Battenkoff. Of all the people that I've ever met in California, New York, in an entertainment business, Randall is the most honorable person and has protected me and helped me out. And we started out, I was living with Courtney Cox, and Randall came, and we didn't know each other very well, but friendship kind of came to fruition. And he is the most amazing man, the most amazing father, the most amazing husband. But also, as I'm saying this, I want to tell you that I've spent the whole day on a set where we spent sweating, and the whole day was spent on one scene over and over, sweating, actors saying the same thing. And Randall is the person that acts, produces, directs, and does everything. And so it is my honor to introduce my buddy, my best friend, and the most talented actor and the kindest man ever, Randall Battenkoff.
Wow, Lauren. Geez Louise, I don't know what to say to all that other than thank you. That's so sweet. It's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be your pal.
He's wonderful. And Randall, tell us some of the movies that you've been in so all my listeners can just like Google you and fall in love with you like everybody else does.
Let's see. Well, I started off, with that For Keeps movie with Molly Ringwald, where I played her husband. Back in the day, in 1988, I did that, and then I did School Ties with Matt Damon and Brendan Fraser and Chris O'Donnell, Cole Hauser, Ben Affleck. Let's see, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I played Buffy's boyfriend, Jeffrey. Let's see, Higher Learning, John Singleton's film, Walking and Talking with Anne Heche and Catherine Keener. The Peacemaker with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman. As Good as It Gets with Helen Hunt. I was Helen Hunt's date, the guy who did the magic tricks and licked her forehead and squeezed her boobie. Let's see what else. The Player. I was in Robert Altman's film The Player with Tim Robbins and Julia Roberts. I played the studio head's son who was in town picking up all the supermodels. So that was a crazy time, spending a month with all the big stars in Hollywood. Let's see, what else did I do? Mad City with Dustin Hoffman and John Travolta. I played Hugh Hefner in the Hugh Hefner Story from age 17 to 73 for USA.
You're just amazing all around. I mean, so
I've been in a bunch of movies, and then I directed my own movie, as you know, called 37, A Final Promise, which came out 2 years ago. 2 years ago last week.
I know. Tell me about your directing debut, because I was trying to talk about it on the set today, and I was kind of unsure. I want to know what it's about and where you directed it and where we find it and all that fun stuff.
Let's see. It's a very intense story about a rock star who wants to kill himself on his 37th birthday. And it's a true story. And I actually met the guy, and he told me this wild story. He had this tattoo on his body. I was intrigued with the tattoo. He was going to kill himself. There was nothing I could do to change his mind, and I tried everything. I enlisted every friend of mine, including our pal, to talk sense into this guy, and he would just laugh. He'd just laugh. There's nothing I could do. Well, I lost touch with him, and then about a year and a half later, I ran into him at the gym, and he had definitely passed the age of 37. So I saw him, and I was shocked, and I said, "You didn't do it?" And he said, "No, I chickened out. I didn't do it." I asked him how his girlfriend was doing, and he told me that his girlfriend had died. And I asked him how she died, and he told me that she killed herself. So I got the chills, of course, and then he proceeded to tell me the story, and it was just the most amazing story. And he and I decided that we needed to make this a movie. And so we spent a lot of time on a script, many drafts, 20 drafts. Then I brought in another writer, and we eventually got a script that we felt was ready to go. And I tried to get Stephen Dorff to star in it. Didn't work out. So my investors okayed me, and I directed and starred in the movie. And we got it made and sold it to Gravitas, which is a distributor, big distributor, and they released it in New York and L.A., and it's on Amazon and iTunes. Right now, you can see it for free on Amazon Prime. 37: A Final Promise, and we just it's now in China and Scandinavia. So we're selling it, around the world, and it's getting out there, and it's a very intense story about, love and death and ALS, a lot of very timely topics. So yeah, it was an incredible experience just to do the whole thing from beginning to end. You realize how lucky you are when you're just an actor on a set. You can just focus on your part and go home at night. But when you actually make a movie, as you're probably learning, you live with the movie night and day for years. It never ends. It's like having a kid. You're part of it, and if you're producing it, you got to just stay on top of it. And it's an exorbitant amount of work. And if you're going to make a movie, you better make a movie that you really love, because not only are you going to watch it a million times, but you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. So. What a great experience though, making a movie, and I'm crazy enough to try to do it again. So,
well, as you're saying that, before you move on, because I have like a load of questions that people have emailed me, but I don't think Randalls knows this, and I'm going to let you in on a little information. Randall, when I said that Randall was one of the most honorable people, I have to tell y'all that, as we have talked about on my radio show, that how terrible things were for me. When I was going through my divorce, I went through a terrible time. And when I called you, Randall, I want you to know that I weighed 80 pounds. I had been in and out of the hospital with stomach ulcers and shingles, blood pressure, heart issues, and the stress of the divorce, which we've all talked about on my show, the stress and coming out of that and moving forward is kind of my inspirational thing on the show. But in doing that, I got wrapped up in kind of an unethical person, and I called Randall because I didn't know how to go about it. My kids were traumatized from the divorce. I was traumatized. Randall stuck with me, and you did not know that literally Randall would call. He even enlisted an entertainment attorney to get me out of this contract, and he did not know that 90% of our phone calls were in a hospital or an emergency room where I was trying to get him to help me. And, that's what I'm talking. In show business, everybody thinks it's this great thing and so much fun and all this. You get involved with the wrong person and it can be horrible. And luckily, that's why I'm always so appreciative of my friends and always respect anybody I work with. And Randall, in general, I would put at the top of my list, Randall, to be you, and Tom Sanders at the top of my list of people that helped me. So I wanted you to know that you pretty much saved me, because that was going to throw me over the brink. And in saying that, when you were talking about the 37 seconds,
wow. I didn't realize that. That's incredible. I knew you were going through hard times, but I didn't know the extent, I guess. And I was happy to help you, because there are so many sharks in this town. You got to be very careful. And people will take advantage of you if you're not. You got to make sure to cross those T's and dot those I's. And you got to read those contracts carefully. People get excited because they want to sort of be part of something, and they jump on board and they promise one thing, and before you know it, you're doing something completely different than what you were promised, and you are, they got you. And you got to have smart people around you. And so we've known each other for so long that anytime I can be of assistance. And I don't know if my advice is always going to be right, but I'll give you what I think is sound advice. And
I think it was what it gave me the circle of life is that now I have the ability to actually help people, and have actually been able to I don't say save, but suicidal people that call me, and I talk them through, or I'm able to get them to the help they need. So what you did was a circle of life to put me where I am now. But in saying that, I'm enough about me, because I know y'all are going to text me and go, or email me and go, we wanted to talk to Randall, not you. I want to know, what what are you doing now, and what are your hopes to do? And then we're going to go into The Last Queen of the Gods also, too.
Oh, right, of course. Let's see. Well, I have a movie coming out next month called Who Gets the Dog with Alicia Silverstone and Ryan Quanten that Samuel Goldwyn's company just picked up. So Fox is going to be distributing that film. So it's already out there. You can see the preview, the trailer's out, and it's a fun movie about a couple that's getting divorced, and they're trying to figure out who gets the dog. So funny comedy, and I play the very strict dog trainer who sort of gets between the couple. So I'm the other love interest. So I've got that, and then I did this other movie called The Grandmother's Murder Club with Florence Henderson, Pam Grier, and Judge Reinhold. So pretty wild cast. Had a great time shooting that one in Baltimore, and that is just finished, and they're now shopping it. So that should be coming out soon as well. Let's see. I'm attached to direct a really great basketball sports betting film, but there have been all sorts of problems with the financing, so that's sort of on hold for the moment. And I've been doing some writing. I've been writing some scripts like you. I've been taking your lead and getting back into some writing. And I've got a script I wrote with my wife that's very funny, and then another script that I wrote many years ago that I'm sort of going back to about this overweight kid who finds a genie bottle. So I'm doing that, and waiting for some more interviews and auditions and stuff, and we'll see what's happening. But that's pretty much it on the acting front. And then I'm involved with some charities and stuff like the UN Women's for Peace organization. My mom is actually on the board of that. She's the president, and it's basically there's nearly 5 million women and girls globally who are living in forced sexual exploitation, victims of human trafficking. More than 60 million girls are child brides. Roughly 60 million have no access or are deliberately excluded from primary and secondary school. I mean, these are crazy stats. 140 million girls and women live with the pain and public humiliation of genital cutting. Okay, so it's like this is an organization that's dedicated to ending violence against women. So I'm participating and getting involved with that. It's pretty spectacular. And there are some other great organizations like Hopeland, which the mission is to create awareness and legislative change for children around the world who live without a permanent and safe family situation. So they want every child should belong to a loving family. So they're trying to find homes for all these orphans, and it's a pretty amazing organization as well. And I'm trying to not just sit home in my corner and just think about myself. Trying to think about potentially helping out. Doing things that could help other people too. And finding great stories along the way, and hopefully we can bring to the screen.
Can you hear? One of the wonderful things, is that I wrote a movie about the Rwanda War, which is filming in Rwanda right now. But it was about, I entailed, and I had to research the cutting and the victimization in the Rwanda War of different tribes. And then I started in to write a sex trafficking movie, but it became so deep and so upsetting that I actually had to pull out of it. So the fact of me coming from somebody that had domestic abuse, pretty much most of my adult life, I can appreciate someone like you who is so successful that actually takes their time to help people that it's hard to relate. I love going to feed the homeless. I love going to work at soup kitchens because I can relate to the normal person. And someone like you, I would have never assumed that that's what you did. And that's just amazing. Kudos on that. So thank you because most men don't understand that.
Well, I'm just a normal person too, Lauren.
And it's saying that.
But I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you always feel good when you're helping other people. I mean, it's a great way to sort of get out of your own way and realize there's a big world out there, and a lot of people are suffering. And it's not about, hey, what movie you got coming out. I mean, that's fun, and entertainment is great. Touching people through entertainment. And that's kind of what we do, right? But there are certainly other ways that maybe are more effective and touch people differently. So Yeah.
It always comes back. And in saying that, we're going to say that Randall has the most amazing, beautiful wife, and the most adorable little girl, which I'm sure, I don't even know how old she is now, but when
She's 6. She's 6. She started the second day of first grade, believe it or not.
Yeah, she's so cute. Yeah. Randall and Courtney Cox and I all lived together when I guess we were in our 20s, and we just, it's so weird. Like, we're so old now to think that we have crazy, like,
oh, God.
18-year-olds. It's just crazy. But
Julia's 18, right? She's 18.
But luckily, as y'all know, my daughter's a little actress, and she pulled out of the acting business because she wanted to write, and she's writing novels, and amazing writer. Oh. But Randall, now you own a production company. Tell me what kind of production. First of all, tell people what a production company is, because a lot of my friends don't know. And what is it that you do, and do you have things on the upswing?
Well, production companies, basically you just start a company and you try to get things done. So it's kind of that simple. You look for good material, and then you got to try to find people and financing. You got to attach usually one or the other. And as you know, it's a very long, tedious process. But so that's it. So my production company made my film, and I made some video games. I did the Kick-Ass video game for Sony, and this Cheech and Chong game. I was involved with that, and I'm trying to make some other projects with my company, including yours. I think that's how we reconnected. Was you told me, I've been writing, and I saw your script, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I saw that you had written hundreds of pages, and you had plotted out an entire season. And I didn't realize how prolific you were. And I think you told me you did it in, I don't know, a month, 2 months, something that would take people decades to do. So I realized you're sort of, you have wild talent and ability. And so I wanted to try to help out and be part of it. We had some initial interest, as you know, but then there were competing projects. There were other stories, because your TV show is about Cleopatra. So
it's called The Last Queen of the Gods. So the people that wrote loved Rome and stuff. It's pretty much where Rome left off on the Egyptian side. Sorry, Randall, go ahead.
Right. No, that's it. But so I think Angelina Jolie had a project, and then one of the other producers of Game of Thrones had a project. So all of a sudden, that anytime people have an excuse to say no, they do. And our team, we haven't to date found really the showrunner, which is the person. So a showrunner is the person who does the writing, who has the experience of actually putting a TV show together on air. So it's very hard to get a contemporary showrunner, because they're all making their own shows. Mm-hmm. Right? So they're in such high demand, they're getting paid enormous money from huge production companies. So when you're a small production company with no money to offer them other than a great script, you're way behind the ball. So that's been the struggle with that project. And then with the competition, and then of course once the idea is out there, other people try to copy it, and so it's just so hard to get anything made. So anytime you see a movie made or a TV show made, all you can do is take your hat off and go, I take my hat off. They actually got it made. And, you getting 2 movies made, or I don't know how many you've done, but that's just incredible, Lauren. Just to get your movies made is a major accomplishment.
And as we're saying that, guys, as we're sitting out there and I have all these listeners, which are crazy, and I have all my followers, and love y'all, that I'm sitting in an apartment in Alabama. And I've literally been, Sean Hannity is producing the movie that I was just at, and we had Dionne Warwick that's what was taking the entire day, because it's so hot, and we kept having to, and Kevin Sobo was in it, and so we kept having to retake. The point is that now that I'm rekindled back into life, The Last Queen of the Gods, that's represented through Randall Battenkoff, my guest that I wrote and he helped write, and has the script. it is, we always are looking for backers, and for people that contact me and they're like, how do you get in the entertainment business? How do you get in the entertainment business? And I sat with a couple of people today. Well, producers are the best part. And luckily I latched on to a great manager who has access to stuff like that. So I think, Randall, that we might be able to take The Last Queen of the Gods maybe a little bit further than we had before, as I'm speaking the last 3 weeks coming up. But
Great.
For those people that are trying to get into the business, first of all, I want to say that Randall is unlike most people in the business because he's honorable and great. And what do you feel as a family man? How difficult is it for you to be in the business? I mean, I know your wife, and I don't know if she's going to be okay with you going and having this crazy R-rated, thing with Angelina Jolie. How difficult it is. I mean, do you go into a script thinking, I'm not going to, these are my guidelines and I'm not going to cross them? Or do you read a script and go, what do you think for this?
Well, I just check with her. I say, well, look at this scene, read it. Is there anywhere in the world I can do this? And it's usually, she's pretty cool. She knows it's just my job. So she trusts me. So she basically says, usually, sure, do it, go for it. She's very supportive, which is, very lucky. She's not jealous. She's very supportive. In my film, which 37, I had to kiss a bunch of beautiful women, and she was fine with it. I mean, I don't think she loved it, but let's just say she didn't create any problems for me. So that's very fortunate. But yeah, I keep it in mind. I mean, I don't want to. Depends. Certain parts I've been asked to do certain things that I do think now about my daughter, my wife. Do I want to do this? Is this gonna bode well for things? And yeah, I sometimes say no to things because of that, but not very often. I mean, it's just I think that you get parts and things come your way based on where you're at in your life. In some ways, I had an acting coach who always thought that, why are you getting this audition? Well, maybe you should look at that, examine that. Maybe that's a part of you need to explore. So you got to take a philosophical view to, I think, the work that comes your way. And as far as being a family man, that's just another thing you need to consider. Work is not everything. It's just part of the puzzle. So
do you consider when you're working, there is a difference between doctors, lawyers, pharmacists or whatever. They do their 8 to 5 job, and it's kind of hard for people to relate that sometimes you may have a month where it's, from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. the next day for a month, but then you're off a couple of, maybe a month or 2 months.
Or 10 or 12 or 20. I mean, you can be off for a long time between jobs. That's the thing that's kind of rough. So you got to make the most of it when you're doing it and enjoy it. I do enjoy working. For me, it's kind of thrilling and fun. You're back on the set. You never know. Like when you're done working, you usually think, maybe this is the last one. You just never know. And then usually when you're kind of down and out, you feel like, oh God, I don't know if I'm going to get work again. All of a sudden you get a job, and then you're psyched, and that's what you do. You're back in the rodeo.
So you do feel like that, like it always comes around. Do you ever lose where you're like, this isn't working, I'm going to have to do something else? Because guys, even as a successful actor, there's always coming a day where you're like, ooh, this is running out. My well's drying up. Has there ever been that time, and have you ever thought, what am I going to do after this? Or can you retire?
Well, yeah, of course. I have, actually. That's why I really ended up, I think, writing and directing that film. I mean, I was inspired to do it, but it was really, I kind of felt like I just need to branch out and start doing some other things, because it's just a really tough business, and
younger, like I know the females are always worried about, because our buddy that I spoke with the other day, always worried about the younger people coming up behind them. As far as a man concerned, I think that y'all have longer longevity in film, TV, but are you always worried about, is that why you branched out into your production company, directing and writing more? Because you realize, let's just say, I walked in and told my daughter, Joyces, Springer, who was an actress but hung out with Randall, and I came and I said, guess who's going to come on the show? Randall's coming on the show. And she's like, Randall? I was like, our friend Randall. She goes, he's so hot. I was like, yeah, literally, you knew him.
That's sweet.
And she goes, I don't care. He's so hot. So the fact of the matter is you're very attractive. You're very sweet. But do you ever have those times where you're like, oh, my gosh, we've got these 20-year-olds coming up and, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. There's always a new guy. There's 1,000 new guys ahead of you. So it's a battle. And so you can't just sit back anymore. In fact, I met a huge manager about, 7-8 years ago, kind of about the time I was really trying to get my film going. And he said, sort of one of the minimum requirements we have for our actors right now is that they're trying to get their own projects off the ground. Like, you have to. Like, the world has changed. You can't really sit back and just audition, and very, very few people can I think have that luxury these days. And now so many people are being discovered with the work they're doing. It's kind of great in a lot of ways because it forces you to be productive. You can't just. I like it, and actually having made a film and go, I want to keep doing it. It's very rewarding. So I think it's just another level of being in control of your work and getting things out there that you are personal to you on top of it. So I think for control and also for broadening your opportunities, I think it's kind of important to, just as long as you're staying creative, I think exploring other things within the craft, like acting and writing and directing. I mean, they kind of all go hand in hand because you're still primarily focused on the story. The story is everything. So if you can control how the story is being told, if you're controlling how your performance is being sort of captured, all that stuff, I mean, you're just enhancing your ability to actually control what you're putting out there. Otherwise, you're just a piece of the puzzle, which I don't think is a bad thing either. It's kind of a great thing, a luxury, but your performance and everything else is in the hands of other people. So everybody else is making decisions. So if you can get to the place, and you usually do it because, I think if I was working all the time, then I never would have had to develop any of these other skills. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of grateful in some ways that I haven't had the easiest road in the acting business. So I've been fortunate to work with great people and be part of great projects, but it hasn't been, I haven't gone from one great project to the next. There's been a lot of ups and downs and sideways, and I think that's like that for a lot of people until you get that one project that really sort of defines you. Like Bryan Cranston, right? Like, he was doing all sorts of incredible work, but no one really knew who he was. And then, boom, Breaking Bad, he's the man. And now he can sit back and relax and sort of enjoy, now getting thrown incredible opportunities, great projects. But, who knows if and when the time ever comes. So you got to stay in it, and you got to be versatile. And people always say you need to reinvent yourself, and that's true too, because people want to put you in a little box and say, oh, that's who he is. He can't do that. And so you got to kind of show them, whoa, you don't really know who I am. And most people don't,
Well,
so I know that's a lot.
Experiences change who you are. I know for me, if you would have asked me, I think when we first reconnected and I was out there with my daughter who was working on Valentine's Day, I was, doctor's wife and living in La La Land. And if you had asked me to write some of the stuff that I write now, I just kind of looked at you like, Bambi, what are you talking about? But when you have actually fallen from grace and struggled your whole life, literally, guys, I'm telling you, like death struggles to get to where you are right now. Like, I was sitting on the set today and I was like, oh my gosh, like really, like almost 2 years ago, I didn't even know if I was going to come out of the hospital anymore, just for stress purposes. And I still find it a big struggle. And that's why I was lucky to obtain a great business partner who can help me, because it's hard for me to deal with, conflict or dealing with agents and managers. But that's what I was coming around to, Randall, do you feel like Hollywood is a kind of, you've got to be able to scale the fence? Do you feel like it's kind of a fort where you have to be within the fort, or do you think that it's open to newcomers?
It's open to newcomers more than ever.
Right.
So that's the thing, is that it used to be sort of a very small kind of society, and once you were in there, you could sort of have the luxury of being part of this. You've already kind of made it in, and so you kind of are you get on those lists. But yeah, no, it's open to the world now. It really is. I mean, any kid could create a YouTube video and become a sensation and literally be sought after by big people in Hollywood. It happens every day. So yeah, and that's a great thing. But it's also kind of tough because you're now competing with everybody, and it's a real free for all. So,
or you fall into a trap like me, where you get in with someone that's shady. If you're starting out, I've got a huge following out of the country and a huge following in New York. If you're a writer or you're an actor, what do you say about? Because guys, don't ever get discouraged. I've got 4 movies coming out. I've got 1 dropping out. I still don't have an agent, and I still don't have a manager. I have a publicist, but I'm working constantly. So don't ever get discouraged. But I'm saying, Randall, as far as you, what would you say would be the best thing for somebody that's just starting out? Where should they go? Should they just send their stuff to the studio? And then sit before you answer that question, guys, don't ever send your work off to someone without registering it, because I have turned on several shows that I actually sent out to production companies, but I didn't register it, but they have my show because I didn't register it. So if you're writing a show, you need to register it with the Writers Guild, right, then send it out. Okay, so Randall, what would you say with our best bet for an actor or somebody that wants to be a writer?
Well, it's really tough. I mean, I'd say you got to come out to Hollywood. I think it's a good thing. I do think that making your own videos, your own movies, and building an audience is a great way to go. I think it's actually going to have a better shot at getting through the door than you are just sort of showing up and saying, I'm a great actor, I was in this play or that play. That being said, if you come out and you get into some great acting class and you do some of these workshops and you do some plays, you go to the backstage, that journal, and you see where the open castings are. You do some plays. There are some pretty high up casting directors who do, this is like the old way of doing it, discovering talent, who actually do still enjoy discovering talent. And there's so much new production that they are seeking new talent. Today, more than ever, what's really important to the studios and the networks is your Twitter following, your Facebook following. If you have 1 million followers on Twitter, being some unknown person who's done some great video that has become a hit, and you have 1 million Twitter followers, and people are, your videos are going viral, that's money in the bank. And there are agencies who you can sign with. In fact, you'd have to look it up to find out who they are, but there are agencies that specialize in YouTube talent. So and they'll get you deals. They'll get you into the networks. You will get an agent. That I would say is the most hands-on, take control of your career approach. The other one is just come to California, get in an acting class, and go out at night. I don't really recommend this, but you sort of, you kind of go out and people are talking and some blah blah blah. Things do lead potentially to something. You have a good time along the way. Oftentimes that is a dead end, so and it leads to bad things too. So I don't really subscribe to that as much as the 2 other options, which are study hard, work hard, get into class, get in front of people, doing plays and doing those workshops. That or making your own movies, I think, is definitely the way to go. That would be my first choice, hands down. So that's that. because it's a level playing field. You can get your movie. You can not only get it on YouTube and build fan bases, but you can get into film festivals, and people will find you. You know, I mean, talent will rise to the top, and by virtue of just making a movie, you're going to get better, and you're going to make better movies as you make more of them. So, I mean, that's that. And then as a writer, let's see, if you're a writer and you want to break into Hollywood, I would almost say the same thing. Getting a literary agent is not easy, and getting your scripts to production companies also very tricky. So I would enter screenwriting competitions. There, you can do that easily. You go to withoutabox.com, and there's tons of them. So if your screenplay wins, you submit it for like $60. If you can get into these workshops, like the Sundance workshop, if all of a sudden, that's getting in front of people in the industry. And if you win some awards, some of these people get grants to make their movies. That, I would say, would be the way to get in as a writer. And if you know anybody in the movie industry, you can ask them to read your script, but it's rare that that pans out, usually, as you said.
Yeah, well, fortunately, Randall was sweet enough because, guys, I have dyslexia, and I had sent him my script, like, just, hey, FYI, will you read this? And he really loved it. And I have to say, with Randall's help, and he, touched it up and cleaned it up and made it better, was like, wow, this is a really good script. And we had a great script, and everybody that reads it wants to get attached, but there's always a price to getting attached. And, is that a sign of they just want to use you, or is that a sign of just the business that, I like this script and I'll go pitch it for you. I need about this amount of money.
Well, I mean, the way it works is that basically if someone can actually do something to help your project get made, then they want to be a part of it. I don't know if this is what you're asking exactly, but people want to get attached. People want to get attached no matter what, but they deserve to be attached if they're actually helping you get your project closer to getting it made. So, that's fine. I'm all for it. If someone wants to put money in, they're attached. If someone can get it to a movie star, who's going to help get it made, they're attached. But as far as people wanting money, I mean, because the reason people want money is because, it's their time and it's their energy. So if someone actually knows that they have the pedigree to help get the project made, unless they know you and love you and think it's just the greatest thing ever, they're probably going to say, which is what we ran up to, right? We had a good showrunner who said, I really love this, but, pay me $65,000 and I'll rewrite it so that it's, totally where it needs to be, right? So, who's going to come up with the $65,000? Because somebody might, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And as I'm saying that, because this show, we have a variety of people that come on, and the show is kind of about people in show business that are trying to come up and going. And people I know follow me and think that I posted something, they're like, you like your movies and money. Guys, I don't. I literally struggle for everything that I have. And as Randall was saying that, and I'm not going to name names, but the way I got started was one of the films that won Best Independent Film at Sundance, I actually rewrote half of that script. And because I didn't know what I was doing, I did not get paid, nor did I get any credit for it. And it won a crazy award. But you know what? It was my beginning. It let me know that I was, had potential. But I guess that's my point. And that's what I came, full circle around, is that Randall had to protect me against some shady people. So, entertainment business is wonderful. Like today, it was great. They were setting out chairs for me and bringing me, Gatorade and stuff. Although I looked over at the producers and the director, which, Randall is a director and an actor and a producer, and they're all sweating bullets. They've got to get this, they've got extras on the set. They're paying boom people. They're paying all these people to do it, and they've got to get this takedown. It is not what you see on Entertainment Tonight, where they're just like laying around eating, grapes and drinking wine. So to me, Randall, what do you feel like is the hardest thing in show business to you? I mean, is it the waiting around? Is it the directing and worrying about the budget? Is it the selling of the scripts? What is it to you?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's the business and sort of navigating through the business, and then when you're working, you got to get your days, and you got to work with all these different personalities, and you got to sort of get everybody on the same page, and it's a lot. You're just dealing with all, I would say, the different personalities, and getting everybody, on that page is probably the toughest part. But it's very rewarding, and at the end of the day, most people, if they're treated well, want to sort of do good and help. So it's the whole thing is tricky. It's fun and tricky, and I think that's why it's so exciting, is because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So it's all about passion. You got to be really passionate about your project, and you got to know it's going to be a huge uphill battle. But if you're committed to getting it done, you're going to figure it out. You're going to get it done, and when you're finished, it's going to be really rewarding. Of course, once it's done, you then need to figure out other things, like how do we sell this? So, then once you realize that's a concern, you have to then consider that before you even make a movie. You might want to be smart about all of these different things. That it's not just making a movie, it's distributing a movie, promoting, marketing, distributing, selling, so that's why there are movie studios.
We're talking about directing. The movie that you directed, we always see after a movie's made how the stars go out afterwards and do PR on it and go to different countries. Yep. Did you have to do that? Did you have to take your stars and go to different countries? And how did you make that movie go forward in different countries when you were saying it was all over the U.S.? Did you have to go publicize it in different countries and travel with the actor? No,
that's you just get a foreign sales company to represent it, and they take it to the festivals and to the marketplaces, and they screen it, and then buyers buy the movie. So there are these big markets like the AFM, the American Film Market in Santa Monica. I think it's coming up in November, where finished movies are represented by sales reps that basically all these buyers, so film buyers from all over the world, show up at these markets, and they're looking for movies to put on their TV channels and to put on the shelves, on the DVD shelves, and on their VOD platform. So that's how that works.
Well, so
you don't have to shop it around. No, it's different. If you're making a studio movie, it's when you make a big studio movie and there's hundreds of millions of dollars involved. They fly, the big stars to Japan for the big opening, and they're trying. But no, for independent movies, no, there's none of that, unless there is a star involved and the distributor asks for it and wants it, and they might, if they're going to put a few $1 million into promoting it, they want the stars there to promote the big premiere, then yes. But for independent movies like mine, no, there's none of that really.
Because I consider, when I talk, I look today, I was like, it's almost like a holy silence and a big bright light. Randall is coming on my show. It's like a glow, y'all. And that's what I was today. It was so funny when Dion and all these other actors were coming on this set. I'm really not impressed with that. I'm more impressed with the person and the dignity behind people. And that's why, to me, to have Randall on my show, because that's what I try and have, people with dignity and respect. He's an amazing person. And he is, if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And you don't have to worry about some backlash. And in Hollywood, guys, that's really difficult to find. Even in these independent films, which is what I work in, is independent films that says, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. There's always a backhand, and you always need somebody. But, it's hard. And that's why I'm so pleased that I have Randall on, is it's really hard to find somebody that really does and says what they're going to do, because everybody's out for their own interest, and he's not out for his own interest. And in saying that, I'm going to ask him more about his charity work and what you have to look forward to, because actually, Randall, I would help you in anything. Being a survivor of domestic violence and, still living with the scars of it and helping other people, I want to hear about what you're doing in that forum. And is there a way that my listeners can help you, or is there a way I can help you?
That's a great question. I know there's a march coming up in New York for these peace organizations, Global Citizens Foundation, trying to help these children who are denied education. Almost 202 million adolescents without access to a junior high school. So I know that they're having people. There's a big concert in New York, and I don't know the exact date, but you can look it up under Global Citizens Foundation. And people are being asked to sort of do things to get access to this concert. So you have to write to your senator and say, we want to change the way, the inequality of wages for women, or various things that you can ask, you can tweet, there are actions. So they want people to take action. And the same with Women's for Peace. They want people to actively be, not only come to the march, but to do things, initiatives that can actually change, demand for change from policymakers and legislators and stuff. So this is kind of new for me in a lot of ways, so I don't have the exact answer yet, but I am part of it, and we'll have more information soon, so I can share it with you, and you can share it with your listeners once I have more concrete stuff. There are these ALS walks coming up on my birthday, October 16th. There's a walk to defeat ALS. My dear friend, my publicist for many years, she had got ALS, and so I've been, and it's part of my film too, 37. So I felt I feel very close to that organization. So just going on the walk and trying to raise awareness and trying to raise money. Just helping out like that. There's tons of things, but I think that domestic violence is obviously a huge problem in our country and all over the world, and so
the trafficking and the mutilation of young girls. What group is that affiliated with?
That's the UN Women's for Peace organization.
Okay, and is a person that's out there listening, because I know I have a huge following in New York, what, other than writing our senators, and you were saying the walk, is there anything else that we can do? Because everybody that's listening to me right now knows me, if you follow me, that I'm a huge advocate of children's rights and women's rights. And, that's one reason I wrote the Rwanda War, and I fell into a deep, dark place after writing it because of what happened to the females and what happened to the children during the Rwanda War. And when I started writing the sex trafficking, and I ended up, leaving the project because it becomes so intense that it overtakes your life. And these women are living this life. These children are living this life. This isn't just something they watch on Lifetime and then they turn it off and go home and eat grilled cheese and chicken noodle soup for dinner and go do their homework. This is a crazy life, and you're fortunate to be listening to this radio station. You're fortunate to have a computer to listen to this, or a phone. Is there a place that we should send money? Or if we're not going to give our time, there's a lot of people, I know I'm involved with the Rotary Club, which a lot of people, we joke about, we got half our Rotary Club wants to do the charity work, and then half just like to send a check. Is there a place to send our checks? Or
there are a few. There are a few, like CARE. CARE is a violence against women organization, fighting to stop gender violence around the world. So you can make a donation to CARE. You can just go on their website and read about what they're doing. I'm sure they have calls to action. Amnesty International fights to stop violence against women. Of course, UN Women for Peace. There are great organizations, so you can donate to the organizations, or you could just get involved in the organizations. You can join the organizations and just sort of, because when you're surrounded by groups of people with the same common desire, that then you kind of find out what they're doing about it, and they'll tell you, like, there will be marches and organizations and donations and food drives and raising awareness. There are tons of ways to raise awareness online, and you just become part of of a group of people that are involved in wanting to make change in the world. And I think by virtue of that, you'll be part of making change. So you got to do something, and I think educating yourself is a great first stop. And even in your local communities, there are things. There are meetings. There are committees. There are people are part of organizations dedicated to stopping domestic violence. And so I think you have to actively just go out and find those organizations, and they're out there. There's tons of them. I mean, I named a few, but they're out there, and just join them.
Yeah, and a lot of times with me, because I'm from the South, that there's such a shame involved in stuff that, it's easy for us to turn our backs on sex trafficking. It's easy for us to turn our backs on, kids being trafficked and domestic violence. And you know what? It took a whole lot for me, coming from where I come from and the family that I come from, to admit to the things that had happened to me. And a lot of people turn their backs because they're like, oh, she's saying too much. Where I live, whether I'm accepted or people turn their backs on me because I speak out against, look, this is what I went through and I survived it. And, and I posted the other day, and Randall, I kind of posted this to you. I didn't know if you looked at it, but it was like, life is a puzzle, and you never know what piece you play in somebody's life. And Randall played a huge part in my life, and he didn't know, and I probably have never given him the admiration to this moment when we're talking. And that's why I wanted to have him on right away, is that you can see with the work that he's doing and what he's, who he is, that all of us want to be movie stars. All of us want to be writers. All of us want to be, producers. But, in reality, we all want to be a human being. And Randall is a writer, producer, director, and a human being. And that's a huge thing. And I can't thank you enough, Randall, for giving me the time and knowing that, like, I'm starting to tear up, guys. Knowing what you did for me and my kids and me was a huge thing, and I just want to thank you so much for everything that you've done for me.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. Anytime, Lauren.
And in saying that, I will be back in touch with you now that I have somebody that can actually do some stuff about Last Queen of the Gods. So my friends that are listening, I know I had like a huge studio Zach send me something today. If y'all are listening and you really love me as much as you say you love me, we have a project that we're ready to produce. We're always looking for sponsors in our movies, and we're always looking for sponsors for the radio show. And I want to thank Randall so much. I know I have 5 minutes to clean it up, so I'm going to let him go and kind of talk to y'all for a minute. But I love you, Randall, and thank you so much. And you can hang up, and I'll text you later.
All right. Lauren, love you too. You take care.
Thank you.
So long. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Well, I'm wrapping up with Randall, and I want to tell y'all, I want to thank y'all because I have so many people that reach out and talk to me about my broadcast or talk to me about helping them. And it is a huge jump for me to come from where I come to admit to the issues that I have, which would, literally having everything and losing everything and scratching my way back up. So don't ever worry that there's too many scars, there's too many things that have happened to you, or there's too much, people are talking about you too much. You can always bounce back. You can always start a new life. Look, I'm so old. If y'all knew how old I was, of course, we're never going to know that. But I am so old, and I have, grown kids that I still support. You can always start a new life. You can always start over. And I am your person to look at, because 2 years ago, like I said, I was 80 pounds in the hospital, shingles all over me, heart issues, blood pressure issues, stomach ulcer issues. And, I'm sitting on the set today watching Dionne Warwick and having PAs bring me water. Not that I asked them, they just kind of brought it for me. But you can do anything. You just need to believe in yourself. And if you reach out to me, and I think it's really real, the people that are reaching out to me that, we're on a goose chase here. I may give you a thumbs up. But those people that really have some problems, I will try and connect you to who you need to help, who needs to help you. And you heard what Randall said. Randall was talking about all the charities that you can come to. And in closing, I would like to say this. I am very fortunate to have someone to sponsor me as B&A Productions. It takes a lot to put these radio shows on. We're always looking for more sponsors. I'm really not the greatest person because I'm like an entertainment person and I just about anything. But, I do know on the business end, we need sponsors. And I know I reach out a lot of people and I know I have a huge following out of the country and, in these large cities and small cities. And I love you. And if you have an idea, please just send it to the Lauren Show. And I promise I'm going to look at it. I may not get right back at it, but I'm going to look at it. But I love every single one of you. And I love every single bit of support that I get. And I am going to be what you want me to be. Just give me time to be what you want me to be. And I'm getting there in my own sweet time. Love y'all. We have a lot of guests. We're filming a movie right now, and I'm trying to pre-record a lot with the actors and the producers. So hopefully soon I'm going to have a lot for you to hear. I love y'all very much. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Amrita Rupnarayan, aka Valenissima. Amrita means ambrosia or nectar of the gods. Valenissima means keeper of divine knowledge. Join me every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern for a night talk with Joe Rocks, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite on Armed Radio Global Network, where we will discuss food, culinary arts, baking, cooking, food preparation and presentation, bringing you a little bit of the divine knowledge so you can create your own nectar of the gods.
Savino Wine Preservation System is wine preservation glassware. Savino is an easy-to-use wine preservation system that allows you to enjoy your favorite wines anytime without waiting for an occasion. Open any bottle with confidence, knowing that you can enjoy the full original flavor of Tuesday's wine on Saturday. For more information, visit us at www.savinowine.com. Today's wine, tomorrow.
Hey everyone, as you all know, summer is now here and everyone wants sexy summer skin. I'm partnered with Rodan Fields, the #2 premium skincare company in the U.S. We have some fun treats for you guys. Check out my website at www.ewinters.myrandf.com. But wait, there's more. Join as a preferred customer to get 10% off and free shipping for all these amazing products that I'm currently obsessing over. Or email me for a free mini facial or free consultation at ewintersrf@gmail.com to get your sexy summer glow.
Hey everyone, I want to tell you all about an amazing salon, Joyces, located at 132 Ferry Street in Everett, Massachusetts. Joyces specializes in the latest techniques in coloring, styling, cutting, and beach waves. Joyces features Sukesha all-natural nutrient products and organic color. Joyce's full-service spa and salon located at 132 Ferry Street, Everett, Massachusetts. 617-387-6688. Specializing in you.
everybody. This is Jimmy.
And this is Paul.
We are hosting a new show called Pot Talk, Politically Offensive Talk.
It's going to be about politics, religion, the presidential race, current events.
We're going to have some guests that come on, hopefully Donald Trump himself. Wishful thinking.
No, we're going to have Hillary on.
Yeah, but that would be nice. I'd love to get a hold of Hillary.
I feel like ain't fucking that.
So come and join us on Thursday night
at 8 p.m.
Eastern.